Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, New Marketing Automation Rules for 2015. I'm your presenter, Sean Jones, Vice President of Interactive Development with AIS Media. Today we'll be presenting what we've identified as the new rules of marketing automation for 2015, particularly as it relates to lead generation, ROI, and business performance. Before we get started, just a little bit about AIS Media and our specialties. At AIS Media, we focus on providing lift for our clients, particularly to increase the areas of brand awareness, customer engagement, and conversion rates, all while delivering measurable, meaningful results. We have two primary locations, with our home office located in Atlanta, Georgia, where we focus on digital marketing strategy, content strategy, UX design, direct response marketing, conversion rate optimization, and analytics and reporting. Our partner location in Dallas, Texas primarily focuses on CRM implementation, marketing automation, sales process alignment, content mapping, and lead management. AIS Media's employees are certified in Google Analytics, are AdWords certified, BrightEdge certified, and partner program implementers for Salesforce, Vocus, and Adobe products. Just a few of the clients we've had the pleasure of working with over the years include SunTrust, Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, JCPenney, Maui Jim, etc. Our client work and subject expertise has been the focus of interviews and portions entertained in Today's Show, The Wall Street Journal, CNN Radio, the AJC, and we've been awarded more than 32 awards in the last 5 years for design and development work. Now, throughout this series, we're going to be covering a wide variety of topics, with today's focus being primarily on marketing automation to ensure that you're prepared for the next digital shifts throughout 2015. Marketing automation was a key priority in 2014, with more than 47% of marketers considering it their top priority last year. And it's, again, their top priority as they move into 2015. So what's the first rule for marketing automation as we move into 2015? Work smarter, not harder. With 75% of the initial purchasing process being done before a buyer ever wants to engage a vendor directly, it's incredibly important, whether you're a B2B or a B2C, to nurture your leads and allow potential buyers to move throughout the buying process in a way that does not require that they make contact unless they absolutely require it. Nurturing them through marketing automation technology gives you that ability. Now, according to Pardot, marketing automation is on the fast track for a 50% increase in usage throughout 2015. The number of companies adopting marketing automation to help their sales force is continuing to grow at a rapid rate, with more and more companies discovering the tremendous value that automation has to offer versus simply throwing more and more sales staff at the problem. Some of the most compelling reasons for implementing marketing automation is that, one, an increase in revenue. 77% of those companies interviewed said that marketing automation provided them with an increase in revenue and sales effectiveness. 65% gained more insight and both transparency into their marketing and their sales activities. 58% were better able to measure the performance of the sales process and their sales teams. This alone would be enough for most companies to be able to implement it or want to implement a marketing automation program, if nothing else, to ensure that their sales and their marketing prospects and their sales teams are really excelling in those areas that are most needed. Now, that said, once you've got a program in place, you're starting to generate traffic and you're starting to generate leads, then what do? Nurture those leads. Companies that excel at lead nurturing typically generate 50% more sales-ready leads at a cost approximately 30% lower than normal. In addition, nurtured leads produce, on average, a 20% increase in sales opportunities versus non-nurtured leads. Now, the lead nurturing process, and I'm sure many of you are at least somewhat familiar with this, it really is a 6-step process. It's going to start with either a hard or soft request for information from a potential buyer or a customer. Next, once they've made that request for information, whether that's through a downloadable form, whether that's just visiting your website, whether it's a sales call, you really want to be able to educate the user and provide them information on either your product or service, and that can be through emails, it can be through videos, white papers, live events, etc. That all helps support higher involvement with the lead or potential customer. And it's really at that stage that you want to be able to engage your sales team, your sales support materials with that user, so that the user feels involved throughout the process and really in command of making the decision on how they best move forward. Now, throughout this process, you've got both hard and soft qualifiers. That's going to be everything from measuring the activity of whether they open an email, did they click to watch a video, did they download a white paper, did they provide feedback through a form, did they follow up with any of your sales teams. There's a number of hard and soft qualifiers that marketing automation is going to allow you to go through the process with in a fairly automatic fashion to not just nurture the lead, but ensure that they're the most qualified for your sales team. Obviously, the goal of this is to convert them to customers, but the cycle does not end there. At that point, you can upsell them to additional services, product enhancements, etc., and the cycle begins again. A great example of this, and something that's been in the news for the past 18 months, are the microtransaction sales, particularly through apps. Anybody that's got an iPad, an Android device, an iPhone, any type of smart device like that, I'm sure you've seen games like Farmville, Fruit Ninja, etc. All of these use a form of marketing automation to provide users with opportunities to find out more, whether it's about the game, whether it's tokens, whether it's some other way to beat the game. And through that, it allows them to qualify themselves. Are they above 18? Are they older than 13? Do they need a parent's permission, etc.? And to literally make purchase decisions right within the app, right on the device. Some of these are generating, the most recent one that we saw is generating more than $200 million a day in revenue, and that's through an in-app game that all uses a marketing automation method in order to ensure that the users are still captivated within the process. Now, throughout this lead nurturing process, it's really critical to continue to track user interest. One of the most successful means of both not just lead nurturing, but also tracking user interest is through direct nurturing campaigns. Through a campaign like this, you're able to track all actionable behavior, and it really needs to be a primary goal. With this, you're not only tracking the email that you send out, but you're able to track events such as, did they watch a video? If they did watch a video, did they watch any subsequent videos? If not, maybe they downloaded an ebook or a white paper. Have they requested a demo? Lastly, are they requesting additional information, or are they unsubscribing and opting out of any further marketing materials? All of this is essentially handled not only automatically, but it's handled in the digital space. And according to Web Trends, 60% of the sales funnel is happening in that digital space. So because of this, it's critical to track not just the lead interest, but to be able to report on that. Now, the traditional old school method of automation, typically what you would look at for reporting was little more than web analytics. That would give you fairly anonymous details as to who visited the site or who may have come and at what time and how they were referred. But with marketing automation, you get a much deeper, more granular access to reporting that can dial information down to a specific user, a specific event, and tie that back for your sales team to really turn that, and not just a prospect, but into a buyer. Now, one thing that we've made comment on several times through this is the drip campaigns, the lead nurturing, emails, and it's really important to not just send them emails, but to ensure that through a drip campaign and through your automation program, what they're receiving are relevant emails. And according to Jupiter Research, relevant emails, sent through marketing automation will typically generate 18 times more revenue than a simple email blast. So what that means is it's not just getting set up with MailChimp or Silverpop or Constant Contact, sending a bunch of stuff out shotgun style and hoping that somebody clicks on it in a spam type of setup. It's really ensuring that your campaign and your automation program is set up to deliver the content that individuals ask for when they ask for it. And we'll talk a little bit later about how best to do that. But while we're on the focus of email, one thing that we get a lot of questions on is, I've got a big list. What do I do with it? How can I use it? How can I market to them? The simple answer is list cleansing and segmentation. Again, the general problem is how do you clean thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dead or cold leads? As most of you should know, almost every ESP has a no spam policy. Marketing automation programs, whether it be Pardot, Salesforce, Marketo, etc., they have a no spam policy. So what's the solution? A staging strategy using any form of data validation and scoring services. One of the best ones is datavalidation.com. It allows you to be able to do lead scoring and ensure that the individuals that you're going to send to are really interested in your product or service. As an example, one of our clients, WFI, who you saw earlier, they had tens of thousands of quote-unquote leads that their sales team brought them and said, I want to market our services to these individuals. Sometimes they didn't know where the lead came from. Was it a live event? Was it a webinar? Was it an online forum? How they came by it? Very rarely were they able to tell. So what we were able to do was use a data validation and a scoring service, and through that we were able to determine that less than 30% of the leads that they thought they had were actually valid, the email addresses were still being checked, and the users were actually interested in their product. So while their list was culled back a great deal, it allowed them to focus on the individuals that were going to be most responsive to their message in order to ensure their success. Now, because of this, through the list cleansing, through the nurturing process, what you're going to find is that those focused, nurtured leads typically make 47% larger purchases than non-nurtured leads. And that, again, goes back to that cycle we showed you earlier, that not only do the leads make an initial purchase, but allows you to be able to do an upsell and continue them through that sales cycle. Now, the only way to make sure that this is particularly successful, that they're clicking your videos, they're going to your pages, they're reading your emails, is to focus them on compelling content. And that's our number 4 most important and critical item for marketing automation for next year. Part of that compelling content is typically going to be generated and delivered through landing pages. According to HubSpot, companies with 30-plus landing pages typically will generate 7 times more leads than those with fewer than 10. And what that really means is ensuring that you've got landing pages set up not just to generate things like A/B split tests and allow users to self-qualify, but to separate your services, separate your features, and allow users to self-identify what they're most interested in. Rather than sending the user to one generic page, they then have to hope that by filling out a form and filling in a content box, you'll understand what they're most looking for. So delivering that right content is what's critical. So the question that we often get is, well, how do I know what the right content is? And the best way to go about that is a content journey map. What you're looking at here is an overview of a content journey map that we actually developed for AT&T. And this allowed us to go through all their materials, go through their website, go through their sales process, and really determine where their users would most want and most need particular content. You can see here very early in the journey that just in an awareness phase when somebody's not quite sure if they're ready to make a decision, things like videos, webinars, infographics, articles on the subject, etc., are all really important. As they move in and they get to the consideration phase, you may be able to dial them into other areas, things like ebooks, deeper guides. Testimonials are critical here, and it's something that's typically overlooked by just about every client we've ever talked to. All of those really help influence during that consideration phase, And finally, as it gets closer to that decision phase, people start to dial into things like case studies. They may show up to an event, and ratings and reviews. And while ratings and reviews are very similar to testimonials, ratings and reviews obviously is part of what the success of Yelp has been based on, among others. You're going to find everybody from Amazon to Best Buy to Newegg all have implemented very robust ratings and review systems that combine that testimonial portion to allow users to make a final purchase decision. Now, delivering the right content, you've got to figure out a way to put it out there, get it to your users. And for us, the way we implement content is part of an overall conversion-optimized digital marketing model. With this, we take the marketing mechanics, that's social, search, email, etc., and we ensure that through those means, the right content is delivered to the users, not just on their website, but throughout the marketing automation process. And all of that really helps to ensure that the right users get the right materials, and you're turning the right leads into buyers, and you're churning out the wrong leads and allowing your sales team to focus on the right people at the right time to best maximize that. Now, once you have this system in place, and it can take some time to get up, you're always going to be focused on what? Growing the success of the original implementation in the business as a whole. Now, marketing automation solutions typically see a sales cycle about 70% faster than those that don't have one. And they're going to have a 54% increase in quota achievement by the sales and the marketing team. One thing that this really helps do is align your sales and your marketing groups. The key is to make sure that not only are expectations in line, but messaging is in line. So a marketing automation program, particularly with content and dynamic content development, helps ensure that the message the marketing team is putting out is the same message that the sales team is focused on, and that you don't have individuals in sales that are pitching a product with the wrong stat, the wrong materials, the wrong price point, and vice versa. By automating this process, it helps reduce all that. And what you're going to find is that sales and marketing teams that have implemented a marketing automation program, more than 80% of those have achieved their revenue goals, particularly when it's highly integrated between the two sites, compared to only 36% of companies who have little integration between sales and marketing who have been able to achieve their goals. So you can see, just as an overview, just having the two teams on track with one another and automating this to remove part of the human error, it really helps achieve not just the revenue goals, but to deliver, again, the right message at the right time to keep everybody on track. Now, a good example of this, and I know we've talked a lot about them, but they're somebody we've worked very closely with, and it's somebody that we've been able to implement a lot of these tools to their success for, has been WFI. For WFI, we launched 5 different domains, 5 different content methods across a variety of platforms. And as you can see through this, not only did it win several awards, I think we've taken now 8 awards for the design and the implementation, but there were primary requirements such as lead capture. It needed to be able to build the email list that they were going to be marketing to. It has cloud-based content, so we can dynamically serve content to the right individuals at the right time. The entire thing can be easily edited by the back-end team and by their users without requiring a high degree of technical know-how. And what you're going to see, at least in this timeline, is that we launched the new website in 2013. That was launched approximately mid-2013. And as we got towards the later part of the year, we were able to start aligning their sales and marketing processes. Shortly thereafter, we developed collateral materials and all the content needed for their digital marketing and their marketing automation. And we quickly moved in to list cleansing and segmentation. As I noted before, we took all the leads that they thought they had, turned out all the chaff, and allowed their sales team to focus on just the individuals that were most interested in their products. And we were able to do the first drip campaign just this past April, and it's continued through then. and they're typically seeing about a 27 to 30% increase in not just open rates, but also click rates as compared to campaigns that they had done before we began this process. Now, it's not just our clients that are seeing these types of successes with marketing automation. 63% of companies interviewed said that they are outgrowing their competitors primarily because they're using a marketing automation platform. And 75% of companies using marketing automation are seeing an ROI within 12 months, and 44% of those within 6 months. So the only real question is, when will you start to look at marketing automation? When will your company want to implement it? What are their primary goals? And how can they best align those so that they can achieve this type of measurable success? Now, as we wrap up the webinar for today, I hope that you guys have found this informative. I do want to invite you to the next webinar that we have, which focuses specifically on content marketing, which we talked a little bit about today. We have another event on December 3rd that talks about how to use social media and PR to further amplify what you can do through marketing automation. And if there's anybody that would like further information on marketing automation or website readiness assessment to see how we can best help you with marketing automation, certainly give us a ring. You can reach us at 404-751-1043 or info@aismedia.com, and we'd be happy to give you a 5-point UX analysis, personal consultation, and some written recommendations about how to best implement the product. Additionally, for all the attendees that were on today, we're going to be sending out an email invite so that you can download this webinar. It'll be presented to you in a PDF and in PowerPoint format, so that if there's anything you want to cover in further detail, you're going to have that available to you. Again, my name was Sean Jones with AIS Media. I certainly thank you guys for attending today. We look forward to talking with you in the future. Thank you.